Hi, so I thought I'd make a quick video on how to handle when your child, most likely your teenager, doesn't want to go to Mass. I know that this was a little bit of a problem for me, and lots of parents say that it is something that they deal with, their teenager not wanting to go to Mass. But then how do you handle the situation? Do you force them to go, or do you let them stay? What are you supposed to do? And I just want to point out, first of all, it's actually natural for teenagers to want to rebel against the faith, especially if they were a cradle Catholic. That's sort of their way of spreading their wings. In fact, a lot of kids do go away from the faith when they get into their college years and they come back. They're what we call reverts. They come back to the faith. And that's actually normal. If they grow up in the faith, and I made another video on it and all that things, they should come back to it. But that is normal. But how do you handle the whole Mass situation? Well, if you force your child to go to Mass without explaining to them the importance of what Mass is, it's not going to work. So the first thing that you need to do is when your teenager says to you, or your kid says to you, I don't want to go to Mass. This video is specifically geared towards teenagers. When your teenager says to you, I don't want to go to Mass, the first thing you need to do is try to understand where they're coming from. So, okay, why do you not want to go to Mass? Well, it's a waste of time. Well, why do you think it's a waste of time? And then, okay, here's why I go to Mass, because I want to experience the real presence of Jesus in the Eucharist. You explain to them, but first you have to understand them. So you have to take the time to listen to them, and don't argue with them. Don't say they're wrong. Hear them out and just listen to them and say, okay, I understand where you're coming from. That makes sense. Validate their feelings, and then explain to them what why you go to Mass and things like that, and why you think it's important for them to go to Mass. The worst thing you can do is come off and say, well, you're gonna go to hell, or something bad is gonna happen to your soul, or okay, I tried. When your teenager says they don't want to go to Mass, probably the worst thing you can possibly do is say, well, I tried, you're just gonna go to hell, oh well. That is the worst possible thing. Do not say that. Try to understand why. Then when they tell you why, and you understand, and you talk to them about why you go, why you think they should go, not because they're hurting themselves, but because it should give them happiness. Remember, most things that we do as humans, they all relate back to our desire to be happy. So why you think Mass would contribute to their happiness. But it's also understanding that, they're growing up probably in a secular society, or society is getting increasingly secular, and, forcing stuff on your child probably isn't the best idea. Not on your teenager anyway. When they're a child, actually growing up in the faith is what experts like apologetics and things like that say, will keep your child grounded, will actually help them come back to it when they're older. But when they're a teenager, it's a little bit trickier. Personally, and I would, if your teenager does not want to go to Mass and you've done the whole understanding thing, you've had the talk, I'd say, okay, well, let's make a deal. How about every other Sunday you come to Mass with us? Because you still want to keep them grounded in the faith. You still want to keep their feet wet, right? You don't want to be think of the church as a pool, and they're in the pool right now. They're going to Mass, so they're swimming. You don't want to say, okay, no, it's fine. We'll just take you out of the pool altogether. Because then if they ever want to get back into the pool, they've forgotten how to swim, or it's just going to feel super weird. So instead of keeping them in the pool, in the regular spot, say, okay, we'll do every other week. Let's take you over to the shallow end, take you over to the steps. You can sit there and hang out. I get that. Don't do the whole, oh, well, I tried, you're just gonna go to hell. I did my best. Nothing's ever enough. Don't do that. That is just pushing them into the deep end, and then they're drowning. So please, I cannot stress enough how important it is not to do that. You still want to keep their feet wet. You still want them to be in the pool. But don't force them to stand alongside you in the in the main body of water in the pool. If they want to, get out a little bit, say, okay, yeah, let's compromise. Every other weekend you come to Mass. You still want them to be in the pool so their feet are wet, but they don't have to have the water up to their chin or up to their waist. You can say, okay, let's go for the shallow end, but you want their toes to be in it is the point. But anyway, I hope that makes sense, and I hope that gives you some piece of advice on what to do. Again, the first most important thing you can do as a parent is seek to understand before you explain, before you teach. That way your child feels heard, and especially when it comes to faith, it's important that that your child knows, especially a teenager, knows that you're listening to them, that you actually value their opinion, that you care, because all of them saying I don't want to go to Mass and all that is, essentially it comes down to them wanting to be more independent. So you need to show them that you value their independence, you respect it, and in turn they'll respect you, and hopefully they'll respect the faith. But anyway, I hope that helps, and again, if it doesn't or whatever, I am sorry. That is just what I've read. I've read many books on the subject. That is what they say is best. But anyway, I hope that helps, and God bless and peace be with you.